So, tell me all about your day. Is it a very good day? Was it a very good day? We yesterday read the research into ADHD by one researcher, Farone, reckons that there's a combined effect of many genetic and environmental risks that combine to result in adult ADHD. Now, in many ways, we know that ADHD in children present in a certain way. That can be because of developmental changes. But what about an adult, right? If we look at one thing, say, shifts in symptomatic presentation. You can see in adults impulsivity more so than hyperactivity. Adults can begin to learn, even without interruption or therapy as such, when they're younger, to socially go, okay, I'm not going to be as hyperactive here, I'm just going to stop. Not that they choose neurologically to do this, more they fear of being pushed out and being isolated. That can be one element psychologically of how a person with ADHD can lessen their hyperactivity, but it has to go somewhere. The ADHD has to go, and the impulsivity can be increased then. Now, while hyperactivity is also a prominent symptom in children with ADHD, it may manifest as inner restlessness more so in adults, and this is where the impulsivity, I'm just going to do it, will happen. Now, you can see a lot of adults that do impulsive things, and we're kind of going, gosh, why do they do that? Is it the drink, is it the drugs, or whatever else? But it could be ADHD manifesting in an adult in that way. If you haven't heard it by now, there's a thing called our executive functioning. Long story short, front of our brains here allows us to have control over our decision making, amongst other things. Think of the CEO, the chief executive officer. The executive functioning allows us to have this more present control, but this can go out the window if we have impulsivity, because impulsivity, as we know, pushes us to do things straight away. Press that button, don't press the button, and you press the button straight away. Adults with ADHD often struggle with this whole part of the brain, right? There's other things that I mentioned, well, I didn't mention earlier, but I'm mentioning now, this part of the brain, which is organization, time management, and prioritizing things. They can't shuffle things around and say, oh, I better do this first. And no, oh, well, if that person's calling over and I need to do that, that's on the calendar, I need to shuffle the three things around. And that's where they kind of get confused and disappointed in themselves too. There can be impacts on their relationships and work as well. It can be difficult to maintain relationships, because if you think a person is going to be late the whole time, it's to others too. There can be coexisting mental conditions where adults with ADHD are probably more likely in lots of ways in the research with having other conditions such as anxiety, depression, substance abuse disorders, or even sleep disorders. I know a guy who started in a job and was there on time, was super early, in fact 1 hour early for the first week, and sat in the car beforehand and then walked in the door late. I mean, how can you do that? But there's such a lot going on in the mind, and these coexisting mental health conditions can trigger a person over the edge, even when they have time to do it. Developing coping mechanisms can be tricky. It's important that you try and do actually achieve these mechanisms, because if you manage your symptoms, such as creating routines, using tools that will help you organize things, and seek therapy in the right way, then things can help. Now, a smartphone is fantastic, an iPhone, fandubulous, right? But if you get distracted while you're on the screen looking at your calendar about what should I be doing right now, that ain't good at all. It can impact on your daily functioning as well. Financial management, simple things like adults with ADHD may struggle with trying to manage their finances, like things like budgeting or getting bills paid on time. There's an impulsivity to do things and to move and to just for the sake of movement, and yet they ain't progressing in life at all. They're going around in circles. So you need to be able to manage that, and you need to be able to progress in that way in a very positive manner. Then the house can be an absolute nightmare. It won't be as organized as possible. They're looking at things and going, why don't I have that over there? Or why isn't that? Because they're not able. It's your thinking that's organizing, and then of course your actions around that. But then even if they get a makeover, the house will still be a mess, because your thinking allows you to manage it differently. And so keeping track of simple household chores, appointments, and just managing daily tasks can be very challenging with a person, or an adult more so, with ADHD. Emotional regulation is needed. There can be dysregulation, so the coping mechanisms that I mentioned, but also the feelings that they have need to be addressed. Like especially people who do have relationship issues, they need comfort, they need support, and so you need to be able to have somebody in their lives that can have a conversation with them, that can be able to relate to them in certain ways, so that they feel company, they feel that they're actually unique but not weird. They may also be used to rejection, and there's a sensitivity there towards that. Criticism has come in the past perhaps, and they can perceive things coming up that, oh, something's going to go wrong here. So it can be heightened with adults that have ADHD, and there can be self-esteem issues and an impact, of course, on other relationships as well, working relationships, peers, and so on. Delayed diagnosis, which has often happened in the past, surely will lead to a lack of a less therapeutic intervention that will work more than likely. Having said all of that, there are therapies out there that will work, so please go and check out the medical doctor first off and ask and look for brochures and people from a very solid medical background to help you. There can also be risk-taking behaviour. This can be tricky because if you are into sports and movement and all of that, and you can contain yourself, and you learn as an adult to contain yourself, it's not socially viable for you to continue to be hyperactive, and then you're impulsive through doing, say, motorbiking or CrossFit sports or things like that just like get all this energy out at one stage. Well, then that can be good to a point, but then you can become injured. You can do silly things, and even though you feel a sense of freedom and the impulsivity, your body is just one body. You've got to look after it, right? Then there's gender differences. Often symptoms may present differently in males than in females, with females often displaying more internalizing symptoms of ADHD, and males, well, they can be doing the CrossFit thing. Now, the thing that's very interesting is that people that have ADHD, especially adults, may have had difficulties in school, right? But that can have impacted their basic education, but then when they can eventually funnel or be impulsive, they can be actually quite intelligent adults, and they can go out of the box as such with their thinking, be more innovative. Above all else, there are advantages and disadvantages. Let's not look at the glass more so half empty. Look at it half full. If you have ADHD and it hasn't been a problem up to now, and you're a unique individual and there's people around you, that's a great thing, because you can think differently. You have energy. You can be impulsive, but so long as you have people around you that'll help you, that'll keep you on track, you can certainly be very beneficial to yourself, to others, and to this world. And if you want to be very beneficial right now, please hit that button for subscribe. If not, well, who knows? Maybe you won't see the next video. Hope you do though. Until next time though, thanks for watching, and please do have a wonderful day.